This was honestly a game where Syracuse had a chance. You, Gino, were kind of getting excited a little bit. And
yeah, I was. I really was.
Yeah.
I was very, it's just unfortunate that this team just, A, cannot hit threes, B, cannot rebound,
C can't make free throws.
C cannot play
D
a full
can't
40
move the
minutes.
ball.
Yeah, let's
right.
go through the whole alphabet here.
Exactly, Gino. You're
listing.
listing the elements that make a not good basketball team.
Although Syracuse went 6 for 7 today from the line.
Nice.
Yeah, well, they didn't shoot enough free throws. That was really the issue today. They shot 1 of 6 from 3 in the second half.
Yeah.
And overall for the game today, they were 3 of 11.
Bad.
And, 2 of those came from Nate Kings. That's off the top of my head. I'm checking it in live time.
One
nope,
of them
just
came
one.
from Nate
Just
Kings.
one. One from Tyler Betsy, one from Donnie Freeman. I don't remember the Tyler Betsy one. I remember the Donnie Freeman one well. And I remember the Nate Kings one well because you know what the crazy thing is? Both of them were not high percentage looks. Nate Kings was on the move.
What? This team doesn't take high percentage looks?
Nate Kings was on the move around a screen. He was his momentum was taking him from right to left. He was on the right wing. I'm looking at exactly where he took that 3 right now. And it was kind of forcing him towards more of a straightaway position. And so, he had to go against his momentum, and that was a great shot. Unfortunately, he tried that shot 5 more times, basically, and didn't hit any of them. And I think that shows you exactly why. The Donnie Freeman one, he had a path to the basket to drive right, but I think he's a little bit more conscientious of the fact that teams are kind of bundling him up if he goes right, and so he just shot it. And to be honest, he had a hand in his face.
Well,
it was like an
left.
NBA.
Yeah, you can't.
It was
left.
an NBA 3, and he absolutely drilled it. So. Once again, he took that shot one more time and then took one off of a screen as well and missed those 2. And then Tyler Betsy was kind of just a non-factor tonight.
Yeah, I remember when, after the Virginia Tech game, there was a mention that Donnie couldn't go left. And, it's kind of been pointed out to me, and I've kind of realized it since then. And as you're looking at where Nate Kings took
now it's
that,
on film.
Yeah, now it is on film. Me and Gino Antamarino are also now on film at WAER Sports Talk on YouTube and Twitter. We're joined by our play-by-play guy, Luke Burgess, down in Charlottesville. If you want to jump in on the conversation or you have something to ask Luke, call us at 315-443-2011, and you can also interact with us on those Twitter and YouTube pages as well. A lot of stuff going wrong for this team right now. It's hideous.
Yeah, Luke, I wanted to ask you because I know Griffin, who's also down calling the game with you, he was texting me. He said that Adrian Autry kind of gave an update on Kai and Anthony and said that there was no injuries involved. Listen, I think that's the right move, but boy, is that not a great look for the program?
No.
Well, yeah, first of all, I was flabbergasted because I had the second to last question for Adrian Autry today.
Wow,
and he was asked probably 7 or 8 questions, and that was the first time that no one else asked about Kai and Anthony. I was the one to bring it up, and I was honestly shocked.
Journalism.
I thought that would be the first question, just because this is the first time Kyan hasn't played in a game all year.
Yep.
He started 2 of them. Most games he's playing like half the game, playing like 20 minutes off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there have been a couple of aberrations from that, where they've given him fewer minutes, or maybe they've only had him come in specialized roles. But today he didn't even take off his tracksuit, and he also had somewhat of a brace on one of his legs, which was why I initially thought, okay, there might be some type of injury concern here. Now, guys are bumped up and bruised at this point of the season, so I don't think
Luke,
you need to look too into that.
He looked on the bench.
He didn't play, and his team just lost by double digits. Of course he's dejected.
Right, but it was more of like
Whoa,
did we?
Whoa,
Stanley,
we have Stan? We have
What's going
Stan.
on here?
Let's just talk about the.
Stan from Salisbury, is that you?
Salve.
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 Stan from Salve, is that you?
I don't know what's going on here.
I'm here.
Oh, great. Okay, awesome, Stan. You're on the double overtime. I'm Nick, joined by Gino, and down in Charlottesville is Luke. Stan, what do you want to talk about, man?
Well, I don't know a lot about basketball, but I've been watching. I always say this when I call. When I watch Syracuse play, I've been watching them play since Roy Danforth was the coach. So, and when I see a good basketball, you consider yourself a good basketball team, you have to shoot the ball, and it has to go in the basket. So they have to make more threes. Okay, I'm not saying you can live and die by the three.
No, you can't. Not with this team.
If you've seen every team they've played this year, they'll be with them early, and then all of a sudden the good teams, and every one of them, they'll start making a three. They'll get a guy open, the guy will make it. And Syracuse has had that opportunity too, but they just can't make them. They don't make them enough times. They had 4 shots this last game here. They had opportunity, missed all 4 of them. And those are the things. Those are one of the reasons why they lose. It's not just because of
There's
Coach
a lot of
Autry.
reasons why they lose.
I'm not saying, so you got all that. And then what's the Donnie Freeman thing? I know they double team him, but he's got to figure something else out. It's scary when he gets the ball. He always gets it swiped from him. He's not really effective inside. And I know they double team him, but they got to figure something out with him because he's really not doing. He's not doing that good.
I think Donnie right now needs to learn how to, needs to extend his range a little bit because if he's a dominant 3 shooter,
and then
he stretches
what
the
he
floor.
does too is like if he can't get a shot, he can't see. He backs up and
he does.
throws a prayer. He throws a prayer 3, and most of them he doesn't make either. He was making a few early, but so that's a problem. And he's a good ball player. He is a good ball player, but they got to figure that thing out. He always gets the ball swiped from him. They really and you know what? If they just made a few more of their baskets and their threes, they probably would have still been in this game and won a few other games.
Yeah,
because all the good basketball teams can shoot the 3 much better than we do. And if you can't shoot it that good, you're not going to be a good team.
No, you can't keep missing threes like that. You can't keep taking bad shots like that. Thank you so much for calling in, Stan. Really appreciate it. Luke, I know we've harped a lot on just how bad this team is, and I want to go back to what we were talking about a little bit prior.
Yeah, we were in the middle of Kai and Anthony, and Stan just jumped in and knocked me down like
really
a linebacker through the A-gap.
He really wanted to get in on this conversation. And
hey,
then,
passion. You got to love it.
Yeah,
but
you got to love the passion.
Yeah, so Kai and Anthony, obviously, one of several guys, obviously Stan mentioned Donnie Freeman, a disappointing game for him, 5 points, 2 for 11.
That's fine.
But also, Luke, I want you to finish, obviously, your Kai and Anthony point, but I also want you to hit on Donnie Freeman. What did Adrian Autry say about him in the post-game presser?
Just that he was shut down. He was clearly a focal point of Virginia's attack, and a lot was made of Virginia's physicality and size. By me and Griffin before the game, and also by Adrian Autry after the game. We talked about the fact that it was probably going to be an issue for Virginia, or rather for Syracuse, because their tallest player on the floor is William Kyle, who's 6'9", and Virginia's got 2 7-footers that they can go to.
Wonder who
and
designed
by the
that
way,
roster.
oh my God, Ugonna Onyensu
he's good.
Onyensu is one of the more impressive bench players I've seen in the ACC all season.
One of the best shot blockers in the ACC too.
Right there with William Kyle, but he is insanely athletic. He was all over the floor tonight. Really impressive game from him. And so, they
Luke,
knew that Donnie Freeman was going to struggle with that size.
Yeah, I want to jump in on the Onyensu. There was a play with, I believe, I want to say 12 minutes left when they went to break. And there was a play where it was a fast break. I want to say it was like a 3-on-1. It was White going downhill against Starling. He goes up. He misses the layup. Starling played it perfectly. And there's nobody backing up for Syracuse's rebound. The only person back is Kings, who's standing there. But Onyensu gets the putback, puts it in. That's been the problem for Syracuse. Is it's like, okay, you want to brag about having an athletic big man who's 6'9", he's undersized. Well, where is he in that transition? But then also at the same time, there's plays where he's the only one back and there's nobody helping him. It just seems like we've talked about, Luke, the offense is a complete ISO ball. The defense is now become complete ISO ball. It's okay,
it's a mess.
it's all on you. Like, you're on an island. I hope you can figure it out.
And that's true. And defense is a breathing, living thing, right? Like, you need to be able to respond and react in the moment to all these different changes. And I will be honest. I think, not to say that this is an excuse by any measure, but this was the first game all season where I could really tell that Syracuse was absolutely exhausted.
Well, look
and
at the minutes played, Luke.
I don't think that's any fault of their own. Well, yeah, but Nick, what are you supposed to do?
Well,
what are you supposed to do? No. Hold on. Let me finish.
Who made the roster?
I'm not. Yeah, but you're at this point of the season. You're not coaching in September anymore. You're coaching in February.
You're
right. The reality is, you can't put Sadiq White on the floor without him picking up 4 fouls in the blink of an eye. Tyler Betsy played 17 minutes, so I don't know what you want to say about that. Bryce Zephyr played 8 minutes, and honestly, I didn't think he was very bad. I thought he made some nice passes. He hustled defensively.
Well, that's all you're going
to. You had to have Akir Soiree tonight. You had to, because otherwise you were just going to be completely outsized. I mean, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do?
I'm
and
not,
I'm
Luke,
not
it's not your
defending the
fault.
actions
It's
of this
not
coaching
your fault,
staff.
Luke. The problem is this team
Yeah,
is
but it's just a silly
terrible.
point to say that they were assembled in a certain way.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
of
you always
course
knew
they're
that there were going to be concerns.
You're criticizing
when-
them for being exhausted when 5 guys were asked to play 30 or more minutes against a ranked team on the road.
Okay, here's what I'll say. I agree with. I hate to do this, but I agree with both of you guys because
What a cop-out.
I know. Listen, I agree. Nate George playing 35 minutes today. I mean, there's games where I don't even think J.J. Sterling checks out of the game. But, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's kind of this new era of basketball. You have to play dang near every minute of action. I mean, that's what Caleb Wilson did practically for
Yeah.
UNC. You have to have that
Well, the best
that
players
ability.
do.
Yes, and
But
I would consider
you need to
J.J.
have good
Sterling and
depth,
Donnie
too.
Freeman to be amongst the best players. And I honestly would say the same thing about William Kyle. He's got to be.
He's an athlete, but not a basketball player. Our desk member Cole Purvis said that earlier. He's an athlete, not a basketball
But I
want
want to go back and talk about Sadiq White. Luke, you talked about he only played 2 minutes today, and it just seems like he checks into the game first minute he commits a foul. It's getting to a point now where Adrian Autry's got to. I don't know what you tell him, but like
tie his hands behind his back.
I just don't understand why he is slap happy out there.
Yeah, I mean,
does that would you say that's more on the coaching or would you say that's more on the player, Luke?
sorry, for who? Which player?
Sadiq.
Specifically?
Sadiq
Yeah, I
Fallon.
mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, Sadiq is a young player who is clearly trying to make an impact. I think he's pressing a lot, and I think that's really stunted his development this season because he knows that the team is not playing well, and, he only gets a couple of minutes to come on the court most nights. Some nights he plays a little bit more, some nights he plays a little bit less, and I think when he's out there, he's desperate to make an impact, and I honestly think that's where the foul thing started because it wasn't as big of an issue over, the Players Era tournament where he was starting or playing, more significant minutes. And I think now that he knows that he has to do something when he's out there as an 18-year-old kid, like, he's doing basically anything he can. And sometimes that's just whacking a guy and being physical. And I think, sometimes we've seen Adrian Autry come off the floor and be like, okay, he was the only one that was trying. But sometimes
Which is also
I think
unacceptable.
sometimes it has unfortunately led to him being foul happy.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to get back to, guys, though, as we continue to break down this game is
real fast.
talking.
Luke,
Go ahead.
We want to make this trio a quartet. As we have another caller on the
all
line.
right.
Dave from Southern California wants to talk about the
Glad
coaching.
I got a heads up this time.
No, you're all right, Luke. Dave, coaching,
Here we
I
go.
mean, there's not a whole lot of good you can say. So what exactly do you have to say?
From SoCal.
From SoCal. Warm.
Yeah, I'm just normally I'm from Liverpool, but I'm out in Southern California for a wedding this weekend.
Oh, very
Okay.
nice.
Oh.
Nice weekend to be
Very
gone.
nice. Yeah,
Congratulations
this is-
to
yeah.
whoever's getting married. Happy
And I
Hanukkah.
watched the game on ESPN really
I'm so
closely.
sorry.
And I used to think they didn't have any talent at all, but now I think they have individual talent.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Coach Autry has not been able to get the players to play like a team.
Yes.
They don't know each other. They don't know each other's tendencies. And also, another mark of a coach is to try to get more players to play consistent game in and game out. And I can't think of really any SU player that's consistent every game.
Dave,
or a lot of games.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's almost like the players take turns, like having good games. I mean, Nate Kings is. I mean, he literally last game against UNC single digits. Before that, 28 points against Notre Dame. Right. Then today he's got 13 points. It's like half the games he's in double digits, half the games he's in single digits. Why can't we just have a complete collective of guys going out there and having good games? Why does it have to be one or two guys and that's it?
And for my coaching selections, if they can't get a really, really good experienced mid-major coach that's
Oh, we're just talking about the future.
gone to the
Why
tournament,
not?
if they can't
Yeah.
get a good mid-major coach that goes to the tournament, then at least get Connecticut's best assistant.
UConn?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot.
UConn's
right.
best assistant.
I think there's a
Right,
lot
you're
of
saying get a
guys.
good assistant or get a guy who's proven as a head coach at a mid-major. I completely agree.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing's for certain: you cannot hire from within. You got to go out. You
Alan
gotta go out.
Griffin cannot man this team next year. Thanks so much for calling in, Dave. Have fun at that wedding. Man, Gino, would I like to be in
Boy.
SoCal right now?
Yeah, what is it? 1
At a
degree right
wedding?
now here in Syracuse.
Can you imagine how much happier I'd be right now at a wedding?
Oh man.
I mean, love is in the air. You know what's in the air right now for Syracuse men's basketball? Disappointment.
Hey, Luke.
Sadness.
Luke, I want to talk. I want to talk Nate George.
Oh, sure.
Probably in my opinion, is one of his better games this season. 19 points.
Yeah.
One of the leaders in that category, and very efficient, 8 for 9 shooting.
Yep.
But again, the name of the game for him, it hasn't been his production. Yes, there's games where he hasn't been scoring a ton of points. But to be completely honest with you, they don't need him to score points. Yeah, at times, if there's no one else that's going to, there's no issues with him stepping up. The problem that I have, it's these three numbers right here. 3 assists.
Yes.
To 5 turnovers.
Bad.
4 personal fouls.
Ouch.
That's the issue I have with George, and it's been like that the entire season. It's been the assist to turnover ratio, which is, by the way, top 3, if not top 2 worst in the ACC.
Yeah, something, though, that he didn't have a problem with against Notre Dame and when Syracuse won. So that really illustrates the picture of how important it is.
Syracuse
for
also
him
had 21 assists in that game as well.
Yeah, right. But he didn't turn the ball over. I will give credit to Nate George in one facet. He was up to 3 fouls very quickly in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a really good job of adjusting his game defensively while still being effective and not fouling. And honestly, guys, I thought Syracuse played a pretty good defensive game today. Like, I really do. I thought UVA hit some incredibly difficult shots. I was insanely impressed with Sam Lewis and what he can do. He's an amazing shooter, really good basketball player. I thought that, to be honest with you, it just came down to some lapses on some defensive possessions. But
Luke,
it was single possessions.
That's been the
story all season.
That's been the story all season.
To me,
it's like
I'm
they
not
have the
I'm not
talent,
defending it.
but you're absolutely right. It's the lapses. It's they go these periods of time where it's just like they're just completely out of the game, and it's almost like Syracuse just like paused their game. But, like, Virginia just kept playing, and then all of a sudden Syracuse resumes, and now they have to play catch-up. And they sometimes, for the most part, they do. They play catch-up. They can. They've got the talent to do that. But it's just those lapses at times that really kills this team. They cannot play a full 40 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's been, covered plenty, I think. And,
right.
It is true. But I was just more commenting on the fact that, there were some really good defensive possessions today, and not that means anything. I mean, it doesn't. The season is over, unless Syracuse does something in the ACC. And I think everyone is aware of that. It's more so just to point out the fact that, I think there were signs today of really good defense, and I think that started with, like I was just saying, like a guy like Nate George getting up in fouls and adjusting his game to play more conservative. You didn't have that Sadiq pick up a bunch of fouls and quickly, has to, you have to put him on the bench or he has to foul out. It wasn't like that because I thought that the team did adjust and I thought they did the right things. I think UVA is just a really good basketball team and Syracuse is an okay basketball team that's not playing with any momentum. They don't have anything going for them and the players are discouraged. I mean, one of the things I wanted to bring up, J.J. Starling today talked to the media for the first time in a month,
which is unbelievable, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, as the captain of this team, you should talk to the media every game.
If you
Nate Kings does
well,
it.
To be honest with you, and Nate Kings was the other guy to talk today, and I'll be fully honest with you, Gino, I think it might have honestly been a better sight if he didn't talk, J.J. Starling, that is, because his press conference was about 35 seconds long, and he answered 5 questions.
Were they yes and no?
He was asked about. Well, there's no fine implications. He has no requirement to speak to the media, and he was asked about the offensive rebounding. UVA had 17 offensive boards today, which is pretty unbelievable.
Third best in the nation in that stat.
That being said, and they're also the best rebounding team in the ACC.
Yes.
So it's not really surprising that they did it. I don't think it has anything to do with Syracuse as much as it does with just the fact that they are really good at rebounding the basketball. But they asked him, what happened to give up so many offensive boards down the stretch in those clutch moments, and he just said, we got to box out. And that was basically the end of it, It was a lot of simple answers. It was a lot
He's
of
not wrong.
I mean, no, you're right. I just think I'm not doing this to pick on J.J. Starling. I just think he's disheartened, because
I don't blame him,
honestly played a pretty fine game today. He was just a touch under 50% from the field. He had double-digit points. He made one of the 2 free throws. He's not a great free throw shooter. I mean, he kind of faltered in some clutch moments, but he was pretty solid defensively too. So I think it's just it's disappointing When you have, a guy who came back for another year, like he clearly wanted to be here. He was a big part of constructing this roster, and you can understand why he's frustrated. The same way that I watch Adrian Autry talk, and I feel bad for him because it's not like he hasn't tried to switch things up.
And I think there's only so much a coach can do.
There's only
Right.
so much. And Luke, before we let you go,
Yeah.
one more thing. You've mentioned
Sure.
disappointment a lot about this team.
Yeah.
Me and Gino were discussing it prior to the show, whether or not it would be disappointing if Syracuse men's basketball missed the ACC tournament.
Absolutely.
I think absolutely
What?
not. I think absolutely
How would that
not.
not be disappointing?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
there's
I mean, Nick,
what's
like,
the benefit of going? You go, you play an SMU and you lose a game and you're like, hoorah.
These are just two completely separate conversations. Whether or not it's disappointing to miss and whether or not it matters to miss are not the same thing. It would be absolutely disappointing in the second year of it being possible for you to miss the conference tournament if you were in the conversation to miss it both years and barely scraped in both years. That would be disappointing. Yeah, it would
Yes.
be disappointing to make it, sure. But it would be even more disappointing to miss it one of those 2 years.
Oh,
I mean, if the standard this year was to make the NCAA tournament, just because that's now out of the picture doesn't mean, throw the rest of the season. I mean, I completely agree with Adrian Autry when he says, what are the guys drawing on? And his answer is, well, we still got games to play. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You should be playing for the pride of the school. Do you think you want a Notre Dame instance, again, for Syracuse football, where you
Or
go
the
out there
money
and
of
get
the
blown
NIL.
out? Right.
Yeah.
Where
nice
you,
electric scooters.
yeah, it only gets worse, right? Like, the more you lose. So, you know what? Maybe Syracuse could beat Duke and UNC down the stretch, and they still wouldn't make the tournament. And they could win a game in the ACC tournament, maybe even 2, and it wouldn't matter. I mean, I think that's the case at this point. But, that doesn't mean you shouldn't play the game.
No,
I mean,
I
you're going to have fans who are paying hundreds of dollars to come out and support them in the blistering cold.
Tickets won't be
Guys who are
$100 soon, guys.
Who are getting paid, plenty of money to go play there. And I mean, yeah, you absolutely have to go out and give your best effort. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that includes the ACC tournament. There are probably Syracuse fans down in Charlotte who are dying to see the team play, even though they're not playing well, because they are alums or they have a lot of pride and they want to see the Orange go out and compete. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to put your own pride aside and the fact that the season is over and say, we still got games to play. And I think the team did that today. They did come out with some fire, and I thought there were moments where you could tell, the team was not rolling over today. I mean, you can say what you want about, yes, it's disappointing for another loss to be the result, but,
100%.
They gave a hell of an effort to beat a team
Sure.
who's only lost one game at home all season.
I think that was beautifully said, to be completely
Quite the
honest with you.
soliloquy.
I genuinely think that, yeah, you're right. I mean, unfortunately, it just feels like in the new era of college athletics, there is no playing for pride of the school. It's playing for the name on the back of your jersey, not on the front. And I think that's just kind of the, to Nick's point, I do see it from that side of things. But from your side of things, Luke, I totally understand. There's still games to play, and you have to play for the pride of your school and whatnot. But I don't know. Do you think with how many losses, and then we'll let you go, but I'm just really interested on this subject.
Sure.
Do
I would love to stay. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I think this is a great convo.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know you guys got to talk about lacrosse. I mean, they beat them by 18.
Yeah. By the way, you're gonna love this stat. Joey Spallina had 3 more points than Donnie Freeman today. Isn't that pretty cool?
Joey Spallina also had the same
I don't
amount
know
of
if that's cool.
points today than Akir Soiree has field goals on the season.
Oh, come on.
Okay, wait.
That's a bit facetious. He didn't shoot the ball for the first month of the year.
When you look at the upcoming schedule, you got Duke, you got North Carolina, and then obviously you go into the ACC tournament. Do you think this is a team that's still motivated? I know they showed blips of that here today. I know they showed blips of it against UNC. But this is what I was telling Nick earlier. If you pull out that game against Houston, you pull out some of these games, I think you have the confidence and the motivation to kick it into an extra gear like they could have done tonight or this afternoon against Virginia and maybe pull out this victory. Do you think this is a team that for the rest of the season can go toe-to-toe with these high-class teams? And do you think that if it comes down to, coming back into a game or games on the line, do you think Syracuse has that mental capacity, that mental state to get the job done? Because I don't know after how many losses of this being a close games.
Yeah. I mean, I think I can answer your question in two parts. Thing number one, I think that the issue with the answer to your question about whether the team is motivated is the same issue as to why this team is not winning games and closing them out consistently, because they're disconnected. I don't think the answer is the same for every player on the team. You know, a guy like Nate Kings, like, I get the sense when he talks after today that he's pissed off that the team didn't win, and he does want to win. And I feel the same way about J.J. Starling, but I don't know that. And, you know, I'm not trying to tell a basketball player how to do his job. J.J. Starling is immensely more talented than me. But I don't know that he has the right response to losing, right? And that's just the caricature of some guys. You talk about, like, kind of how modern college basketball has evolved.
Transfer
portal.
portal.
I think J.J. Starling is a guy he's upset, and he's allowing his emotions to impact him after the game. Now, he played a good game today, but I think another guy who's frustrated is Donnie Freeman because of the way that he's been utilized in the last few weeks.
I think
and also
everyone's
because
upset
of,
with how they've been utilized.
No one.
Drake's even upset.
You know, no one gives Donnie Freeman the ball in a good position. I mean, I could count on two hands today the amount of times that he was passed to and he was already double teamed before he got the ball. So, like, when you talk about his struggles, like, what is he supposed to do? Like, it's just these guys, like, they're not able to make decisions under pressure because UVA played great defense, and they give him the ball, and he's in an awful spot. Like, he's kind of pigeonholed into taking a bad shot sometimes. And then the second part of your question, Gino, about whether the team has the capacity to come back, I mean, I think they do. I don't know that it means much, but, yeah, I think, like, a couple of things swing the other way today, and a lot of the time this season, then they absolutely could have won this game. But one thing I want to add on to that is you saw a Virginia team today with Ryan Odom that clearly knows how to close out a win.
Yeah.
I mean,
that should be encouraging for Syracuse fans.
The last 3 minutes of this game, like, they put on a clinic of how to finish it out. Like, they took long possessions, but those resulted in smart shots. And that's something that Syracuse has really struggled with. Like, they were in the bottom corner of efficiency. They're actually the worst team in the country, at least at the 3 games into ACC play. They were the worst team in the country in the final 8 seconds of the shot clock at scoring.
Jeez.
So, you know, that tells you a lot about – and that's also including turnovers, just to be completely clear on what that stat incorporates. So they're either turning the ball over or not scoring at the highest rate of any team in the country in the final 8 seconds of the shot clock.
Man.
That, you know, that just shows you that when they're trying to close a game out late, you know, once they get a good shot, they better take it because they're not really good at drawing up a play to get a great shot late in the shot clock.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's one of the reasons why they've struggled in these close games is because when it comes down to clock management, they're kind of forced to just take whatever shot they get. Whereas a team like Virginia, you know, they can grind you down with their big men, kick it out for a 3, and, you know, they've got some guys who can hit clutch shots.
Absolutely. There's not a lot going on positively for this team, but a good positive is that not really a positive, but we're going to say bye to you, Luke. Thanks so much for jumping on. But we're going to bring somebody
Your true
else
emotions
on.
are showing.
I know. We're going to bring somebody else on and talk about a positive team, this men's lacrosse team. Josh Rothert, who was at the Dome, will come on in the next block to tell us what he saw against St. Joe's today. Don't go anywhere. The double overtime returns right after this.
There is a one-stop listen for everything Syracuse athletics.
Syracuse men's lacrosse had arguably maybe Gary Gates' best weekend ever as head coach.
The Ostrom Avenue podcast provides unique opinions plus exciting interviews from industry experts.
The voice of Syracuse men's lacrosse and Syracuse women's basketball as well. Tim Leonard, Javon Edmonds of Syracuse.com.
Check out weekly episodes and listen at WAER.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Federal funding for public media has been eliminated. That means decades of bipartisan support for public radio and television is ending. To be clear, NPR and this station aren't going anywhere, but we do need your support. Please give today to help keep rigorous, independent, and irreplaceable news coverage available to everybody, free of charge. Here's how to donate, and thank you.
Visit WAER.org to get started today.
Mallory gets the offensive board, though. Kick out to White. Far corner 3 from Lewis. Back-to-back triples. Lewis hits 2 in a row. Syracuse giving up chances early in this second half.
Well, that was Syracuse men's basketball falling 72-59 to number 18 Virginia, but it's happening simultaneously with that game. Syracuse men's lacrosse taking down an unranked St. Joe's team, and here to break it all down right here on the Double Overtime with Nick King. I'm Gino Antamarino, and we also have our WAER talk reporter who was at the Dome to watch the game unfold, Josh Rother. Josh, always a pleasure to talk with you, my man. Rocking a beautiful purple tie.
Love the
navy
outfit.
suit. Oh my!
All we need to do is get you a watch, because right now he's got on one of those Apple watches.
Oh.
We need to get him a
Yeah,
nice
yeah, yeah.
a nice rolly.
Well, he's checking his heart rate, maybe. I don't know. Are you a health guy, Josh?
Not so much this week.
Yeah, you
but-
don't look like it.
Oh,
I'm kidding. You look great, Josh. I was just hyping you up, of course. All right. A team that looked really good was Syracuse. Another dominant victory coming off of a ranked win against BU last time out. They take down an unranked St. Joe's squad, 20-2. But the biggest name of the day in both games, basketball and lacrosse, Joey Spallina, who's now 7th all-time in career points in Syracuse.
Pretty cool name he passed, too. I mean, he passed his own head coach, Gary Gate. That was the guy he
Two
passed
names
today.
he passed.
He got past Gate at the start of the game, and then he moved into 7th. Finished with 8 points today. 4 points.
Passed Tom Marishak.
Marishak, that's the other one. 4 goals and 4 assists for Spallina today. He was really impressive. You know, I know a lot of people are going to be like, it's not a big game, so Joey Spallina can just fill up the stat sheet, right? I mean, we're used to him doing that in Orange, and, you know, he did that once again today. But I was really impressed with his poise. I know it's an unranked St. Joe's team, but the way Spallina was moving the ball
St.
today,
Joe's is receiving votes.
they are a good team.
Yeah.
And they were expected to keep this game competitive, and the reason they didn't, we'll get into that a little bit later. But Joey Spallina, I mean, this is the most calm I had seen him. He was just
I noticed that too.
carelessly just throwing the ball behind the back, but it was with intent too. I mean, he was finding scoring chances.
He's
on almost
precise.
every possession.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked fantastic out there. Talking Joey Spallina right here on the Double Overtime. Call us. Let us know your thoughts on the senior and how excited you are for this year for Syracuse men's lacrosse as a whole and Joey Spallina. Call us 315-443-2011. Joined with Josh Rothard, who was at the game and can break down all of the X's and O's that took place earlier. You can also join us on our stream on Twitter at WAER Sports Talk and on YouTube. But Joey Spallina looked fantastic out there. You talked about it. 4 goals, 4 assists. Had a great game against Boston University last time out as well. But you mentioned that behind-the-back pass that he had to
He's
Finn
so
Thompson.
technically.
Oh, my gosh. I
You
mean,
know,
that was
filthy.
beautiful.
You look
Beautiful.
at him and you watch him or you just listen to him and you just are wowed, you know, up and up every time. I mean, this guy is like a wizard, and the
Yeah.
lacrosse stick is simply
And he
his
brings
wand.
the energy,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I love that.
I think
The energy part is interesting, right? Because, you know, obviously he's going to be asked, and he has been asked to be a leader of this team. And there's freshmen that are getting some playing time. Peyton Anderson was out today, so Bogue Hahn
Right, we
was a
wanted to
freshman.
ask you about that
He
as well.
got his first career start today, and he looked good.
what did Gates say about Anderson, if anything?
He just said he was sick.
Okay.
And that was, so there was no
Flu's
injury.
going around,
Yeah.
colds
I didn't even
going
really
around.
see him on the sideline. I don't even know if he was even, you know, in attendance today, and that was kind of a late thing that they told us.
I mean, of all the games to miss, this is
the one.
This is the premier one.
Definitely going to need him next week
Yeah, now
against
you got
Maryland.
the antibodies, so hopefully no more
Maybe
potential
he's stronger.
sickness for Peyton Anderson.
Yeah,
Maybe he's stronger.
maybe he's
Who knows?
evolved.
Yeah, well, the goal scoring was spread throughout, so you had 11 different guys score the goals,
Right.
score the ball today. You know, an interesting one for me was Ted Rawson. He's a freshman, and Spallina was the one who found him on the feed for his first career goal for Syracuse. And it was that moment that Spallina was the most excited he was the entire game. Not when he was making highlight plays, but when he finds a freshman in that grade A scoring chance, and he feeds the freshman for his first career goal. That was when Spallina was the most excited. He almost tackles him. He is so excited.
That's the sign of a
for
good
Rawson.
leader, though. That's the sign of a good leader. Because
Yeah.
I don't look at Joey Spallina, and I don't expect him to be in the tunnel yelling, you know, super loud, all right, we're going to go out there, we're going to. But, like, that's an example of leadership
Setting
right
it
there.
up. Yeah.
That's an example of showing, like, I care for everybody here. I love you guys. We're one, you know. When you root on your teammates more than you root on your successes, that's the sign of a good leader. You don't have to be the most vocal, but actions like that just show so much maturity, and Spallina has filled into that role, as you said, Josh, over these first 2 games.
And he elaborated on that more in the post game when he kind of talked about Rawson and excuse me, forgetting his name, Bowden or whatever. It's
Bohan?
Bohan, yeah. When he was talking about that after the game, he said that those two guys, they had become friends.
Yeah.
They've only been on campus for, a couple months, and Spallina, who's the leader of this team, already establishing great friendships with these younger guys so that he can pass this torch when his time is said and done. And I think that says a lot about what he has changed year over year. And looking at the more season-wide goals for this team, I mean, they want to win a national championship. They need guys like Spallina to not only be leaders on the field, but they need the rest of the team to follow as well.
Yeah, and I think that when you're talking about earlier in the season and you getting those freshmen involved and just getting them that confidence, right? You get that first goal.
Yeah.
It's almost like
it's like your first shot going in basketball.
But when you start, we were looking at the upcoming schedule not too long ago for Syracuse, and they got Maryland, they got Harvard,
Princeton's
coming up, and then you got a trip to Air Force, Denver. I mean, Syracuse has a gauntlet of a schedule, and the more guys you can get into these type of games or in any game and just give them that experience, that's only going to make you a stronger, more well-rounded machine when you have to go up against, like I said, the Marylands of the world, the Princetons of the world, because if you can take a guy out and sub him out and put in someone else to, whether it's for schematics or for whatever the case may be, that just makes you that much more of a threat.
One guy that, and I don't mean to pick out like negatives of this game, but one guy that I was expecting to dominate a little bit more, and Josh, you can weigh in here, Gino as well, was Johnny Mullen. Because last week he had a fantastic game at the Face-Off X, won about 70% against BU. Today was just 10 of 16 against a Connor Trant for St. Joe's that entered, this season with a season a year ago where he had just 46% win rate at the Face-Off X. And I understand other guys got in at the dot, but I was expecting more almost out of Johnny Mullen. And you want to talk about intensity, that guy's intense. But to me, I was like I was expecting him to win back-to-back ACC Defensive Players of the Week.
I think that's a little unfair.
I'm not criticizing him. I was just saying if I had to pick out one thing from this game to be like,
I think that's the
mark,
only thing you could.
Yeah.
I literally think that is the only thing you could pick from this game, and that's fine because if you want to be a national championship team, you absolutely need to have this stuff hammered down.
Yeah, but to me, John Mullen, I expect to go out there and dominate. And there's not. The Clears were great against the 10-man ride. We can touch on that in a little bit, And McCool was great in net, but the one thing that was I expected to be really on top of it was Johnny Mullen, and he had a good game. I'm not criticizing, but I expected
he won 10 of 16.
10 of 6. That's above 50%.
Yeah,
where I went to school.
It was a slower start, so I think he lost 3 of the first 4.
Yeah.
So after that, he really flipped the switch, and he won 9 of the next 12 for the remainder of the game. So he really, a little bit of a slow start. And I think when you look at the Face-Off X, and you look at Jimmy McCool's performance, when those can cancel each other out, Jimmy McCool was excellent today.
McCool 10 saves, 2 goals allowed. Yeah, you're right.
He was phenomenal. So the defense and McCool in net kind of made up for any slow start that Mullen had at the Face-Off X. And, I think it's unique in these games because a lot of times the possession battle is a big piece of the lacrosse game. Obviously, Syracuse make it, take it, basically. That was the name of the entire second half.
Right? Yeah.
They won the face-off and they scored a goal. That's what we saw for most of the second half. But in the first half, when St. Joe's was still establishing themselves, when they were trying to do the 10-man ride, it was important that St. Joe's was winning some of those draws. They just couldn't convert. And when Syracuse was turning them over, forcing missed shots, and they had to get into that 10-man ride, that is really when you saw Syracuse turn it on because they only turned the ball over one time on a clearing attempt today, much improved from last week at BU, and they were laughing in the press conference because they were so worried. They were so focused on clearing it on this 10-man ride that they had to go up against.
They weren't really bad against BU. Numbers-wise, 22 of 25, but it looked sloppy. It looked a little bit rushed.
Yes.
Today, I thought it was a lot more clean.
I don't think you could have asked for a better turnaround from opponent thrown out the window, regardless of who they're playing. They knew that the first 2 games of the season, they were going to have to go up against a deadly 10-man ride. They were going to go up against a lot of pressure. They were going to be pressured early in this game. They broke it flawlessly. I don't think they turned the ball over in the first quarter when they were clearing it, and that was huge. And Coach Gate, touched on in the press conference, and even St. Joe's head coach Scott Meehan touched on it. They were sending the long stick midi free early, and Billy Dwan was just kind of getting into space, and they weren't even really focused on getting to the wings, getting to the edges. They were just focused on getting down the field, and he even got a long pole goal to start the third quarter.
Billy Dwan, man.
Billy Dwan with it was
he's a rock. Like
he was great.
Hit the Dwan. Great song.
Anyways, yes, collective effort from Syracuse, including Billy Dwan, the long pole getting on the board. Here with Josh Rothard, who is at the Dome to break down this men's lacrosse gigantic victory over St. Joe's, 20-2. Let us know your thoughts on the game, or even just a season outlook. Call us 315-443-2011. Tune in to our stream as well on Twitter and on YouTube at WAER Sports Talk. But you're absolutely right. And Josh, I want to, obviously you were in the press conference after the game. Who were the players that were up taking questions?
It was Spalina and McCool.
Okay, and what did McCool say? Because you talked about it. He stopped 83% of shots he faced.
Yeah, he only faced 13 though, or faced 12.
Faced 12. Ippoliti actually got some time.
That's still pretty. That's still good.
No, it's good.
Anytime you can be above 50%, right around 60%.
60%. If your goalie gets 60% of saves, you should win that game every time.
And the fact that he was at 80%, I don't care if it was 6 shots.
Yeah.
The fact is that's still really good.
Yeah. He was pretty cool.
Mellow.
He was mellow like he normally is.
He's a chill guy.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He didn't have a lot of words to describe his performance.
I feel like goalies are either really nuts or really calm. When you're taking 97 mile per hour shots to the head, yeah, you're probably, you might.
Well, I think you have to be calm.
Wacky.
Because, if you're anxious the entire time, man, that's going to be a long 60 minutes for you.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What did Jimmy McCool say?
His mentality was mainly focused on, he goes through his normal routine before the game, and, he gets locked in and whatnot. But, he only allowed 2 goals today, so there really wasn't much on his game that you could even critique. But he said, his mindset in the cage isn't really about stopping that shot. It's more about stopping the next one. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care if the previous shot was a goal or a save. He's just focused on making the next save. And he said that carried him through this game like it does most of his games. And the last thing he kind of left us with was he's happy Joey Spalina plays on Syracuse and not the other team because, man, that guy is unreal.
Yeah, a lot of guys on this team are. I wonder what McCool's pregame mix looks like if he's trying to get into that calm attitude.
He gets into a routine.
I can't imagine you're listening to a whole lot of upbeat stuff if you're trying to calm yourself down.
What would you listen to?
If I was trying to calm myself down, you know the song, There Must Have Been an Angel by My Side?
Yeah.
I would have listened to something like that, around that vibe.
Is that Sade?
Yeah, Sade, yeah. Maybe. I don't know. I would listen to that. Just some tranquil music, something like that.
I like that.
Josh?
Maybe some Tame Impala.
Hey, that's not some psychedelic rock.
Josh,
what
would you listen to?
Fleetwood.
Oh, I like that.
That's not a bad.
That's really.
That's the best take of this entire show.
Yeah, 100%.
So
Me and you have just been talking about gibberish for an hour.
Yeah.
Some change, and Josh comes in here and gives us the Fleetwood Mac take.
How was the crowd at the Dome today?
It was weaker than last week, I guess expected. They were. They had the "We Are SU" chants going.
That's great.
They went on a little bit of a run there.
They wanted
in the
to watch
fourth
Syracuse
quarter
men's basketball.
Well, you could do it simultaneously. Watch it on your phone while being at the game. While listening to the double overtime or WAER.
Sure.
They were into it, I think. It was kind of a blowout. It was really from start to finish, Syracuse controlled it. I don't really think they were as into it as you would have expected, but they're going to be into it next week because they're going to have to be. The crowd will need to be a major force next week. And when you talk about McCool, McCool lost to Maryland in the semifinals last year, and then Harvard next. He got pulled against Harvard last year. So these are 2.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And he's playing great lacrosse right now.
Harvard's got a beast of a goalie.
Yes. By the way, I was at the game the last time Syracuse hosted Maryland in the Dome, and that they lost in overtime. Remember that questionable call towards the end where no goal for Syracuse? Man, that crowd that day was rocking.
Yeah.
If they can match that energy,
they get some great crowds.
If they can match that
Notre
energy,
Dame
it's going to be tough.
Awesome. I want to touch on Wyatt Hoddle and how much he has improved from last season to this season, and that step up he's had in his game. Another great performance for him. 2 goals coming off of a career high 3 points last time out against
Did
BU.
it again today.
What are you seeing? Now when you're at the Dome, obviously you can see more of just than what the camera's showing you on TV. What are you seeing out of Hoddle that's allowing him to take such a big step in his play?
Yeah, I think he's become a lot more aware, and I think that's maybe because of his teammates, right? I think he's finally getting more playing time with some of the top guys. He is so quick.
Yeah.
He is unbelievably
when you're
fast.
5'5",
I mean, he just
you gotta be pretty
flies.
quick.
We don't want to make
literally
fun of
just
people's
flies.
heights.
No, I'm saying if you don't have height, you got to have speed.
Yeah.
It's the end. That's the bottom line.
Well, I
Tell
have
that to
speed.
Griffin Bloomstein.
You
I
have-
might
you
not
have
have
speed.
height.
He's
I have
5'7",
speed.
by the way.
I'm sure you do. He's 5. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what the website
Oh, they'll
says.
list him
Yeah.
at that. I think I was about 4 inches taller than him when I was walking around before. No,
Yeah,
I'm
but you're
kidding.
like 6'9", right?
No, not even.
Man, if you
remotely
were
close.
6'9", boy, you'd be taller than anybody on Syracuse men's basketball
Nope.
for the most part.
Not
Yeah,
William Kyle.
William Kyle.
Well,
Go
he's
ahead.
Kyle's
But yeah,
6'9".
Wyatt Hoddle, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon. Literally every single time you see Wyatt Hoddle on the field, if he doesn't have the ball and he gets the ball, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone. And, he did it last week, and he did it again this week. It's important, though, because when you look at this midfielder group, especially with Peyton Anderson and Roa kind of switching back and forth, Peyton was a midi in high school, and now he's kind of playing attack. He's out today, so they slide Roa up, and Bogan starts. But it's important because Sam English is gone, and I think that was a really underrated loss because English was really dominant at that midfield position. They have so much depth now, even with Anderson out today. They have so much depth in their front six, and Wyatt Hoddle is a key piece of that, and I think we're going to continue to see more and more of him because he has shown he can score, and he's very aggressive, and he's quick. So I really like what I saw. I liked what I saw today from Wyatt Hoddle.
You know who's really impressed me through 2 games, and to me he just looks vastly more developed, is Jake Spallina.
Yeah.
He looks quicker. He looks more decisive.
That's
at that
D-Midi right there for him.
that
Yep.
D-Midi role right now. He's looked really, really good. He looks like he can be a nice piece to add to this team that seems to make a run. Where last year he seemed to have a tough
That
time
was
finding
the biggest,
his role.
You're right. That was the biggest.
This year he seems to find he's found a
against
lane.
him
Yeah.
was his foot speed. He
Exactly.
would often get beat off of a quick dodge, and he just didn't have that foot speed that you were talking about to keep up. And listen, if you're a D-Midi like we were talking about, it's almost like you have to have the same acceleration, the same quickness, that same quick twitch as a defensive back in football, because you're reading and reacting to the attacker or the midfielder or whatever the case may be. So you have to be as fast, if not faster, than the guy you're covering.
Yes.
Yep. And I think we saw throughout the collection of today's game, I think we saw I think the midfielder group was probably the most impressive group to me today. I mean, the attacking is going to be there most games. Spallina is going to give you 5 points a game.
Yeah, but you're also facing a pretty weak St. Joe's defensive back line. So,
And I agree, but I think the clearing coupled with the fact that they were getting it on the rushes, I thought Wyatt Hoddle and Billy Dwan and the rest of the midfielding group did a phenomenal job of controlling the game. You knew St. Joe's was going to be the one that's going to be aggressive and put pressure on you, and I think the midfielding group did a phenomenal job of controlling the game.
Josh, one more thing before we let you go here and wrap up shop on the double overtime. Obviously, 2 games into the season, Syracuse is 2-0. They're off to a great start. What's something that you've seen through the first 2 games, or even something specifically from today, that you think that the Orange are really going to bank on the rest of the season? Because from what I've seen, Syracuse is a third-quarter team. They outscored their opponents again today against St. Joe's 4-1 in that third quarter. They scored 6 goals against BU in the third quarter last time out, outscored them 6-0.
Yeah.
I mean, this was their bread and butter last season too. Just coming out of the halftime break and just taking it to them. What do you think is going to be the difference for Syracuse the rest of the season?
Yeah, and I know it's a little tricky because we're so early.
It's such a small sample size. Right?
Exactly. But, and this may be cliche because lacrosse is a game of runs and basketball is a game of runs. Everything is a game of runs in sports. I get it. But this is a momentum-based team. When they really get going, it is really hard to put any team above this squad because those third and fourth quarters when they were rolling, I mean, they had a time in the first quarter where they had 5 goals in a 4-minute span, and they had a time in the fourth quarter where they had 4 goals in a 2.5-minute span.
4 goals in the third, 6 in the fourth today for Syracuse.
When you have that make it, take it mantra like Syracuse does, where they win the face-off it's going to be really hard if John Mullen is as solid as he's been in years prior, and in the first 2 games he's been a little bit less of what we've seen from him before. But if Syracuse is as strong as they were in these 4 to 5 minute stretches, it is going to be really hard for these teams to either come back or stay ahead, because when they get hot, they are really, really tough to stop.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they've got the star power to do it, and it's all headlined by number 22 for the Orange, and Joey Spallina, who had 4 goals, 4 assists. But, I mean, you're right. This is a team that we saw last year. When they get hot, boy, they are tough to cool down. But, last year it was almost like it was just getting to that point almost, and it seems like Syracuse is a little bit more of a well-oiled machine. They know how to get to that moment to where they're on fire, and they're a tough team to put out. Josh, thanks so much for covering it at the Dome. I'm sure it was a great time, a great win that you covered. Syracuse taking down St. Joe's from inside the Dome 20-2 earlier today. All right, we'll take a break, and then we'll wrap up shop here on the Double Overtime. We've got more to unpack. We've got women's lacrosse to break down. We've got our final words, and listen, we got Super Bowl. We've got the Olympics. I mean, this is a phenomenal week of sports.
Woo!
Nick King and I right here on the Double Overtime. Stick with us.
I'm Jesse Thorne. On Bullseye, Mel Brooks, the comedy great, if ever there was one, on the power of dumb jokes.
I'm not caught unawares. I mean, some of my jokes have been so dumb and so silly but they're meant to do that.
Plus, TV legend Shonda Rhimes. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Sunday morning at 11 on WAER.
The Ostrom Avenue Podcast, breaking down Syracuse athletics.
The students rush the field. The Orange are bowl eligible and 6-0 for just the 3rd time in the last 87 years.
And interviewing the industry's experts.
We are now joined by a very special guest. It's Emily Liker of Syracuse.com.
Check out video interviews on YouTube at Ostrom Avenue Podcast and weekly episodes on WAER.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
George beckons with his left hand to Nate Kings, who goes one-on-one with Tillis. Feeds off Starling with 6 seconds to shoot. Still outside the arc. Drives right alley. Righty floater is good. Off the glass and in for J.J. Starling.
Alrighty, wrapping up shop here on the Double Overtime. Thanks so much for sticking with us right up until 4 o'clock with Nick King. I'm Gino Antamarino. It's been a great day for sports, for Syracuse. Obviously, not the result the fans wanted for men's basketball, but maybe the results they expected. 72-59, Syracuse falling to number 18, Virginia, down in Charlottesville. But for men's lacrosse, Syracuse taking down an unranked St. Joe's team 20-2 at the Dome earlier today. The Orange for men's lacrosse off to a 2-0 start.
Beautiful. Expected 2-0 start, though.
Expected. So, obviously 2 games today for Syracuse, and then a game yesterday for women's lacrosse. Number 11, Syracuse, falling to number 7, Maryland, 9-5 inside the JMA Wireless Dome. The season opener for women's lacrosse. We got that to break down a little bit. We've got the Super Bowl tomorrow. We've got the Olympics on as well. I mean, boy, this is a great week, Nick.
Yeah, it's a great week. You also have women's basketball tomorrow. But going back to that women's lacrosse game, first game for new head coach Reggie Thorpe. Obviously, you're without your offensive. You're basically your version of Joey Spallina and Emma Ward for the first time. And I was expecting the offense to come out a little bit slow, but falling behind like they did 6-1 was just really threw this Orange unit out of rhythm, because when they finally got their groove on the offensive side, it almost seemed too little too late. And I appreciate Reggie Thorpe scheduling Maryland to open the gate. But to me, that was a tall task going in with basically a brand new offense where you hadn't really gotten a rhythm set up yet. You're losing some key returners. I mean, Olivia Adamson no longer there as well. Syracuse, I expect them to get better as the season progresses, but do I think this team will compete in the ACC against the likes of North Carolina, Boston College, et cetera, et cetera? No, but I think this can be a solid team that can make a push for the tournament.
I've got a couple of things about the women's lacrosse game. For one, the rule changes to this game. Unbelievable job, NCAA. Kudos to them for there's a lot fewer whistles, which makes the game so much better. That was the biggest gripe for women's lacrosse, was everything was blown dead. Now they keep the clock running, especially even on free positions, unless it's the final minute of the quarter. They keep the clock running on free positions. I saw a lot of contact out there yesterday, and they just let them play. And I think that is the best. That is the best thing you can do for the sport of lacrosse, whether it's men or women. Now, obviously, you can't go and take someone's head off.
No, but I do think they should give them helmets.
But a little bit of contact is in my opinion, I think is fine. Now, obviously, I don't have any experience at women's lacrosse, so if someone who played women's lacrosse says like, no, I don't think there should be contact, then I would take that side.
Well,
but
it's officially
from a fan's point of view, from someone who watches it, I couldn't stand the amount of stoppages in the play, and it's unfortunate because these women are so good at keeping the ball moving, and their talents are really displayed, but the breaking in the play really just slows the game down, and it just kind of bogs it down. So yesterday, this was a game that was 2 hours long. So excellent job to the NCAA for speeding up this game. It was
kudos
fun
to the NCAA.
Fun to watch. Second thing I want to talk about, and you kind of already talked about it, Nick, with Emma Ward. I mean, this is a team that has clearly lost that go-to offensive spark, whether it's a facilitator, whether it's a goal scorer. Emma Muchnick was preseason All-American second team, and she didn't have any points yesterday. I don't believe. She definitely didn't have a goal.
Yeah.
But she was someone that she had, I think, 3 or 4 shots on cage. She was trying to get something going, but Maryland just stifled her.
Yes, and I know we're scattered around a little bit.
Caroline Trinkus with 2
Caroline
goals.
Trinkus
She
was
played
nice.
really well.
You know who else I thought was a little bit questionable was Daniela Guyette.
Yes, I agree, especially that first half.
Yeah, and I don't want to harp on Daniela Guyette. However, I was surprised with the lack of competition at that position that she got this offseason because she wasn't spectacular last year. I expected maybe there to be some sort of competition as opposed to her just being handed the starting job. And she came out yesterday and had a sub 50% save percentage, which just isn't going to win you a lot of games against ranked teams. So was I expecting a lot out of her? Not really, because I don't think she's one of the best netminders in the ACC. However, I was surprised that
she's received those accolades. So she has the potential.
I just think she might have needed to be challenged a little bit over the offseason to kind of reach that.
Well, a goaltender that played lights out was the goaltender for Maryland. And J.J. Soriano, the junior, looked fantastic. And Syracuse's offense, I mean, they outshot Maryland the majority of the game, and even up until the final whistle. But, I mean, Soriano, I said yesterday, there's 4 posts that Syracuse is shooting against. The left post, the right post, the crossbar, and J.J. Soriano. They could not buy a goal for the majority of that game, and that's why Syracuse fell 9-5 to number 7 Maryland. The Orange, they next take on number 1 North Carolina, the reigning champs. That's on Friday, 2:30. We talked about men's lacrosse having a gauntlet to open up the season. Women's lacrosse is in the same boat. You got number 1 North Carolina on Friday. Then you follow that up with the next Friday against number 5 Stanford. Then you're home against number 18 Loyola Maryland. I mean, that is 4 games counting the opener, where you're just slammed. So we'll see if Reggie Thorpe can right the ship quickly here with his group, and we'll see what goes on from there. All right. Only a few more minutes left. Quickly before we get into our final words, since we kind of teased it. Super Bowl. What do you think's going to happen tomorrow?
Seahawks win.
Okay.
Seahawks defense is too much. Drake May, second-year quarterback. Seattle's really, really good. They're well coached. I think the Seahawks win pretty convincingly, honestly.
Really?
2 scores, 2 touchdowns.
I think I want the Seahawks to win.
Same.
I'm not a Pats fan. Being a Pittsburgh guy, got to root for my Steelers, and I can't stand the Patriots. Sorry to all my Boston, New England fans out there.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. Olympics starting this week. Make sure you stay tuned to that. Brittany Smith, the head coach for women's ice hockey here in Syracuse. She's an assistant coach for Team Canada. Even though you might be a Team USA, you can still watch her and Canada compete. That's all this week, so really fun stuff here around the campus here in Syracuse. All right, it's time for our final words. Nick, you want me to go first?
No, I'll take it first.
You want to go first?
Yes,
All right,
I would love to.
Go ahead.
My final word today, Gino, and it's going to be a combined one because we had two completely different teams on our airwaves today. And to me, it goes like this. The difference between Syracuse men's basketball and Syracuse men's lacrosse isn't talent. It's the development of said talent. Both teams have guys on their roster that can make plays. Both teams have athletes. Both teams have guys that are good at the sport. Donnie Freeman was highly recruited out of high school. Sadiq White, the exact same thing. Kyan Anthony, the exact same thing. J.J. Starling, really good transfer from a few years ago. Nate George led the ACC in assists last year. And they come here and they underwhelm. And I don't think it's a talent issue on their part. It's a development issue on the coaching staff. Then you look at Syracuse men's lacrosse, the flip side. Every guy that they put on the field looks like they could play pretty much anywhere. You know, maybe outside of one or two teams nationally, you saw a plethora of guys come out on the field today for Syracuse men's lacrosse. Joey Spallina, so talented. Finn Thompson, extremely talented. Obviously, Michael Leo, Jimmy McCool. Those guys have talent. We knew they had talent, and they're putting it on display. That's the big difference. Both sides have talent. Both coaches know how to recruit. The only difference is one of the staffs does a really good job at it. That's the men's lacrosse team, and that's why they're at national prominence right now, fighting for a national championship this season. While Syracuse men's basketball is basically waiting out the remaining month and a half of this year and then looking for a new head coach.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. It's unfortunate that you kind of had to give Adrian Autry the head coaching spot because I think he's a fantastic assistant coach. I think that he is a top recruiter in the ACC. I mean, the fact that he could bring in a 5-star in Sadiq White, who I know is underperforming, but that goes to what you were talking about, the development. And you obviously bring in Kyan Anthony. You retain Donnie Freeman. You retain J.J. Starling. You bring in a William Kyle. I mean, this is a team, you talked about Adrian Autry, and that's sort of been the issue that he's had the last few seasons is he can get the guys in the door, but what he does from there is kind of, who knows. My final word quickly here is Sabotage kicks on. Shout out the Beastie Boys.
Shout out.
Syracuse Athletics is at an all-time low and needs a boost. I think that's pretty, I feel like that's pretty known at this point.
Yeah.
I'm because of the disappointment we've seen with football, with men's basketball. Women's basketball is great, by the way. They're off to a fantastic
start.
Not off to a fantastic
They're
start.
off to a good start.
They're almost done. They're almost and they're going to start March Madness here pretty soon. This is a team that has got a few games left on the schedule. They just crushed Boston College. They got 6 games left. They play tomorrow. So you got to tune into women's basketball. You got to tune into men's lacrosse. And women's lacrosse is going to be competitive as well. We touched on them. So those are 3 teams to look out for. But it just seems like
the big boys.
I'm not buying anything yet because I feel like I've been too disappointed with football, men's basketball, that I don't want to say, yeah, men's lacrosse is going to do it, women's basketball is going to do it, and then be disappointed. So Syracuse, they need something going for them in terms of the athletic department. All right. Final couple minutes here on the double overtime. Some thank yous to hand down for our producer, Gabe Perrin, our engineer, Milo Hoffman, our men's lacrosse talk reporter, Josh Rothert, and obviously Luke Burgess, who joined the show not too long ago. Also our WAER talk director, always making sure everything is smooth as can be here on the WAER talk side of things. For our WAER talk desk, Cole Purvis, Jake Bowen, and Rowan Mastrangelo. That is a great trio of guys.
Oh, yeah.
Always fun to be around them. Jake Bowen with some questionable combination of shirt and shorts.
Needs to shave that mustache.
Needs to shave, but listen, they are a great trio, and we're happy to have them. All right, that does it for us here on the Double Overtime. For my great partner, Nick King, it's been a pleasure as always. Love hanging out with you. Love talking sports with you. I'm Gino Antamarino saying so long, and have a good rest of your day, Syracuse.